Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jack. Back again, read the 725 Holy Guide, everything you know about playing Holy Priest in the Tomb of Sargeras. And of course, if you want to check out the full guide, the full written guide is going to be linked in the description below. But getting into it, this is going to be the quick guide for everything you need to know about playing it, quick, easy consume format. All right. Holy Priest, of course, is the quintessential jack of all trades and is kind of the blueprint healer, really. And it kind of has so many of the tools that you really can handle whatever's thrown at you. You know, especially through Tomb of Sargeras, you have so many different kinds of damage in terms of the fights, you know, that you have to kind of deal with and being able to top everybody off. And Holy can really just do it all. They're able to deal with any kind of damage that's thrown their way. And of course, they will not have some perfect fights. You know, things like mobility can be a little bit more hurtful, but never debilitating. You're always able to find your ways around it. You're always able to find a way to get through it. So we're going to talk about some of that today. But getting off into the talents, starting it off, if you want to check out some of the on your screen right now, of course, this is going to be the raid talents. This is the general default raid build that you're going to be going for. Enlightenment with the extra mana regen that you're going to be receiving is just so immensely valuable, especially as you're pumping out more and more holy words with your new set bonuses, which we're going to talk about in just a second. Angelic Feather is generally the preferred talent for mobility. Afterlife of the crowd control tier here, Afterlife for raiding is just the way to go. Light of the Naru, getting our holy words out faster and faster is just going to be so immensely important, and it's going to get better and better, of course, with our new set bonuses like I was talking about. Piety, further cost reduction for your holy words, as well as having really, really strong synergy with the next two talents here. Divinity, of course, the more you're using your holy words, see the trend here. The more you're using your holy words, the more extra healing that you're getting out of it, immensely valuable. And of course, Benediction. Benediction making your prayer of mendings even more mana efficient than ever before, and of course having really strong synergy with Piety. So this is the general talent build that you're going to be going for, and it's pretty standard across most of the fights in Tomb of Sargeras. You're not really going to be having to change around with these too much. Going into Mythic Plus, of course, or just general world content, it pretty much is, well, all on the left side. Trail of Light is fantastic for small group content. You're able to be healing multiple targets at the same time and still getting a very powerful effect. You don't really need any mana regen just because of the fact that, you know, you can just stop and drink whenever you need to. Hopefully the tank's not chain pulling too hard. Feather, of course, mobility is fantastic, and you can choose between Shining Force and Censure depending on the affixes for the Mythic Plus weeks and depending on any kind of content that you're doing. So the Shining Force can be fantastic to get certain adds out of the Sanguine if you're in a Sanguine Mythic Plus week, or if you needed a certain stun for certain priority adds in a specific instance. Say one of the ads in like Black Rook Hold, it's very, very nice if you're able to be stunning any of the cats that are going to jump on your face. It's nice to have that kind of advantage there. So it depends on the week, but you can choose either of those. For 60 tier, Light of the Naru, again, more holy words. It works offensively, defensively, so you're able to get more chastises out with smites, or you're able to be getting, you know, more serenities with flash heals. Surge of Light is the preferred for Mythic Plus, although you could take any of these. I generally prefer Surge just for the fact that I'm able to have a little bit more mobility in a Mythic Plus. But either of the three talents in the tree will work for you. Divinity is definitely preferred for just raw healing output that it's going to be giving to you. And of course, Apotheosis is the must-take for Mythic Plus. It is so immensely valuable. It can double as a healing cooldown and as a DPS cooldown, and really, really be necessary as you're pushing higher and higher keys. And especially as we're incentivized now to be pushing higher and higher keys. Now, as I was talking about, Holy has not received any groundbreaking changes for 725, so our stats are pretty much going to be in the same position. Generally with Mastery is just going to be immensely valuable. Again, more holy words that we're going to be pumping out, so your Mastery is just still going to be having a very powerful effect. So much of your healing is still going to be coming from your direct heals. So Mastery is still going to be very, very powerful. Generally would recommend trying to get around 40-45% as we're going into progression. It's so immensely valuable to be having lots of echo healing from progression, but as you're moving more and more into farm content, and as your echo healing will start overhealing more and more, then you can start peeling away from mastery and going into either crit or haste, just like that. Haste, of course, I generally prefer to have around 15-20% haste, generally in that ballpark. You want to have a good amount of haste that you're able to be getting your casts off in good time, and you're able to be following up multiple prayer of healings if you needed to, while there is still damage to be healing, things like that. So, of course, I generally shoot for about ballpark like 15-20%, and then, of course, going for crit from there. Versatility will scale better as you're getting more intellect, and as we're entering a new raid tier, it's just going to get a huge chunk of intellect that many of us are getting. Verse is kind of inevitable to get because of how about half of our tier pieces for Holy Priest have versatility on them. So it's an inevitability. I would say don't actively pursue getting more versatility, but if you get some, it's not the end of the world. Now going into your artifact, the artifact path you generally want to be taking to get all of your traits filled out and everything like that is going to be on your screen right now. Everything you want to be taking after, of course, you've gotten your 35th trait. Getting your gold trait Cosmic Ripple is so immensely important, especially with the new set bonuses, pumping out more and more holy words, just having such strong synergy with the rest of the spec. It's just going to be very, very valuable to go for. And of course, this is generally where you want to be going after that. It's pretty easy to be filling out your entire artifact tree now, with the artifact knowledge 40 being very, very easy to obtain. So get all your artifact knowledge as fast as you can, get all your traits filled out, and you should be all set. Now, in terms of gear, and if you want to check out the full listing of some of my gear and stuff, suggestions and things like that, you can check them out on the Wowhide Guide linked below. But a real quick conversation about gear, and specifically trinkets. The ideal trinkets to go for in terms of Tomb of Sargeras are, of course, the Deceiver's Grand Design and the Sea Stone of the Depth Mother. So these two trinkets have finally been, hopefully, finalized in terms of what they're going to be looking at. And these two are pretty good, big questions going into 725 for different reasons. So the Deceiver's Grand Design was, of course, the most powerful trinket there was in PTR testing. As I was doing all my Mythic PTR testing, this trinket was always pulling far and ahead away from everybody. What we're seeing now is that it's gotten a little bit of a nerf, but it's still extremely valuable. As long as, I would say, no more than 2 people are using this trinket on the tanks, because of course you can have, I can have it on the tanks, and you can have it on the same tank, and we can both have that hot rolling on people. Getting much more than that, I mean, there's still going to be quite a bit of overhealing if you and I are using it on the same tank, but any much more than that, and it's really not going to be worth taking, so keep that in mind. Most healers are going to be trying to go for this trinket, so it definitely will be advised to be checking out the Sea Stone of the Depth Mother. This trinket, while it does have a lot of unattractive versatility on it, is an incredibly powerful smart heal, and the way that it has been buffed originally made it stupidly powerful when live servers came out, but at the time of this video, they've just corrected it, and they've balanced it, and the net effect of that balancing is that it's still a valuable trinket to go for, and it's still quite powerful. It is going to be increasing all your healing after you're casting your Prayer of Healing, and it cannot refresh or double proc itself. The internal cooldown of it is just the duration of the buff. So once the buff falls off, then you're able to kind of proc it again. So they've done as much as they can really to make sure that this trinket doesn't go overboard like it did for the first week of Heroics, but it's still a very powerful trinket to go for. So those are the two that you want to be ideally pursuing. You do have to keep in mind that the proc chance of the Sea Stone is dependent on your Prayer of Healing usage. So you have to kind of weigh that going into which fights that you're going after. So talking about some of the fights in Tomb of Sargeras, of course, we are still seeing the general playstyle that you're going to be going for. Of course, casting your Prayer of Mendings on cooldown and your Light of Torres on cooldown. Both of these you ideally want to be casting on the tanks as frequently as you possibly can. The healing that you're getting out of Prayer of Mending is extremely mana efficient, but it also is coming in small bits and small chunks. So ideally, your first goal is just to get the Prayer of Mending bouncing, casting it into the tanks, and buffing that healing that is going to go into the tanks with Light of Torre. Nice 45% buff, of course, once you get all your artifact traits for it, and it's a huge, huge buff in healing over the long term for the targets, the tanks, which are taking the most damage over the course of the fight. So always having your Light of Torres used on tanks, always having your Prayer of Mendings using on tanks, and after that, you're going into your Holy Words. Serenity, of course, you want to be using on cooldown as often as you can if it's going to be healing a target. You don't want to be wasteful with it. The healing that it can do is extremely valuable, so you're looking at people who are around 50% HP, or if you're looking at tanks who are around 60, 70%. Tanks, of course, have just boatloads of health these days, so you're actually able to just be using your Serenities a lot more aggressively on them with, hopefully, a lower chance of overheal. Sanctify, of course, is just the AoE spread heal that has a targeting radius on it. Ideally, you're going to be dropping this on melee in most encounters. There's nice encounters like Heritant, for example, where everyone is stacking up for you so you're able to be healing. And those are sort of the dream scenarios that you're going to be getting out of it. The nightmare scenarios are a fight like Fallen Avatar, for example, where everyone's kind of spread out all over the place and you're trying to nail people down to get everybody in range. For this, many people have been using friendly nameplates. I generally prefer not to use them. I kind of try to eyeball people as best as I can. Try to get as many people grouped into a cluster as possible. If you see multiple people kind of running and converging onto the same point, trying to drop the Sanctify there, I generally prefer to see the radius instead of using a cursor macro, so that I can see who I will be hitting and have a little bit more control over it there. After that, you're looking at how you are getting your holy words back off cooldown. Of course, this is immensely empowered by your 2 and 4 set bonuses. Your 2 set, of course, is just basically a copycat of Light of the Naru, giving you an extra second of cooldown reduction for your Serendipity. And your 4 set is a 40% chance, whenever you use a holy word, to have that holy word have a 50% reduced cooldown. All right, this is an immensely powerful 4 set bonus, and probably the best 4 set bonus that any healers have ever gotten this tier. So with this, you're going to have such a faster cycle between your holy words. You're going to be getting them off cooldown faster and faster. And what I've really experienced through this is that it is such an insanely powerful 4 set bonus that I actually dropped the Legendary Cloak, ran with Pride As, and I put on lower item level gear in 2 slots, in the helm and in the shoulders, I believe. And I ran with 4 set, pushing my versatility way up, pushing all my stats into just utter chaos. And I still was doing insanely good healing, just because of the fact that I'm getting my holy words back off cooldown faster and faster. And if you're not overhealing or anything like that, you're in a progression fight, you are going to find those opportunities to use this holy word. So it's so immensely powerful. The extra cooldown reduction that you're going to be getting is so very powerful. Using your flash heals, of course, whenever there's spot healing, and whenever you see any kind of raid-wide damage, that's when you want to be mixing in quite a lot of perv healing with it. Whenever there is kind of downtime, whenever there is not that kind of widespread raid-wide damage or very simple damage to be healing up, usually you're casting heal into the tanks as filler. Ideally, what you want to be doing here is you want to be getting your Serenity off cooldown as fast as possible. If you're taking Enlightenment, heal, of course, is going to be mana positive, so you're regenning more mana than you're spending there, and you want to be able to get your holy words off cooldown as fast as possible. For the next time the damage goes out, you can instantly reverse that damage, heal people up very quickly, and make sure nobody's going down. Holy Priest, this tier, has such an immense capability, immense potential to really be such a very dominant force and a driving force in Mythic progression in Tomb of Sargeras. I'm really looking forward to what I'm seeing already with my experiences with 4 sets, and I think it's only going to continue. Holy Priest is definitely going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. Hope you all enjoyed this quick guide, and if you have any kind of questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. Check out my Discord and all the other links as well in the description. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you all enjoy it, and I'll catch you all next time.